Hi, I'm Eric Kunz, Senior Product Manager with Furuno, and today we're on a Volvo Penta IPS boat. This boat is a 43-foot Silverton, and we're going to show you our new Volvo Penta IPS interface for the NAVpilot-700 series. In front of you we have a bunch of components. This is a new Furuno TZ Touch 14-inch display, as well as a NAVpilot-700 control head, and all the components you'll need to configure and install the Volvo Penta IPS system with the NAVpilot-700 on this boat. This boat already has the installation, so what we're going to do is quickly show you how to configure everything, how to connect everything together. Then we're going to go through the software configuration in the NAVpilot-700 series software. And then we're going to actually go out and do a quick sea trial and show you just how well our engineers have made this system work on this Volvo Penta boat. Okay, in front of us right now we have some of the components you're going to need to install the system. Okay, and in this case we have the most important component, or one of the most important components, and that's the multi-link cable that you're going to actually use to install. And this is how we're going to get the data out of the Volvo Penta system. So when you get on the boat, you're going to have this multi-link cable, and this is just a breakout cable. So what we'll do is we'll find what's called the EVC, which is the electronic vessel control computer on the boat, and it's usually under the console. It's pretty easy to get at. So you'll actually go into the console, find that EVC computer, and you'll see a multi-link cable coming out of it. And what we'll do is we'll disconnect the existing connectors that are there, and we're going to put this breakout cable in between those two connectors. So it's really pretty simple. It's just two 6-connector male-female sockets that we'll use to inject this cable right into the system. And once we do that, be careful that you don't use this gray cable, because this gray cable goes out to what's called the Volvo Penta engine gateway, or the autopilot gateway. So in the autopilot gateway is part of the system, and that's what we'll do. So we'll break out this cable and connect this breakout cable into the Volvo Penta gateway little computer right here. Okay, and then that's basically all the system has in terms of how we interface to the actual Volvo Penta system. What we'll do then is we'll just add our IPS interface, and this is a Furuno IPS interface that you'll get when you actually buy the Volvo Penta NAVpilot-700 system. And what you'll do is you'll take what's called this gateway and plug it into the CAN bus port on this computer, on this little IPS computer. Boom. Once we do that, we plug that in and we supply power from the ship's mains into this system and run this other cable over into the NAVpilot-700 series processor, and that's the total installation. There's no more than that. All the engine information, all the rudder information, all the steering information is supplied through these 3 components into our processor unit, and we're done. So that's the basic installation of the system, besides the autopilot control head and the processor unit. So what I'm going to do now is actually go through just the software configuration of this system, and you'll find that it's really simple too. So when I have the NAVpilot-700 turned on and enabled in front of me, I'll go through the basic setups, just like setting up the units and actually selecting the language, just like I would with a normal NAVpilot-700 installation. But the one difference is, when you get to the ship's characteristics page, you'll see with this new software in the NAVpilot-700, you'll see that now there's a selection for a Volvo Penta IPS boat. So to get into the installation menu, if you haven't done it before, it's really pretty simple. All I do is go to either the NAVpilot-700 or the 711 control head, press and hold the turn button, and then press the rotor key 3 times. It's a little difficult because I'm backwards on this system, but the important thing to understand is that I just go down to ship's characteristics and press enter, okay? And then you'll see here the boat type is Volvo Penta IPS. So, you know, we already have the planing and semi-displacement boat where we have our new Phantom mode that you can select. But in this case, of course, we have rudder angle information from the Volvo Penta system, so I'll just go down and select the Volvo Penta EVC boat, and that's it. I'm done. The only thing I really have to do now is go down and configure the boat length. In this case, we have a 43-foot boat, and The cruising speed is roughly 20 knots with this boat, so that's pretty good. Don't forget that the NavPilot-700 is a learning autopilot, so even if these numbers are off slightly, the autopilot will still learn the boat no matter what, okay? The next selection you'll do is just go down and set up your rate of turn, which is how the boat turns from waypoint to waypoint, or when you use the knob to turn from course, set the course heading, and that's all. The rest of the installation with the NavPilot-700 with respect to interfacing either an 0183 heading sensor or an 0183 component, or sending information out to an 0183 component, or the NMEA 2000 installation is all the same. There's no rudder setup anymore. There's no rudder angle information that you have to configure. All that's done by the Volvo Penta system. So this really makes the installation quite simple. Okay. From there, we're actually going to go and do a quick sea trial just to show you how well this boat steers with the new NavPilot-700 system installed. Okay, so we're out running on our 43 Silverton right now with the NavPilot-700 interface to the Volvo Penta IPS drives. We're going to go through some quick turns. I'm going to do a 180-degree turn to port right now. It's really simple with the NavPilot. Just press the turn button, and you'll see here I'm already configured for a 180-degree turn to port. I press the enter key. Boom, it says beginning turn, 180-degree T. You see how tight the integration is. You can watch the plotter and see how just how the boat responds. It's a perfect controlled 5-degree per second turn to port right now. Notice how it's on the TZT14 display how the boat heading is aligned with the actual vessel icon, while the course over ground is actually following up with the dotted line. Okay, I can also turn on the heading line like we had before. Alright, there's my 180-degree turn to port. Now I'm also going to do a 90-degree turn to port just to show how easy that is. And in this case, I'm just going to press the arrow key 9 times. I have it configured for 10 degrees per push. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a 90-degree turn to port I just put into the system. I can configure the arrow keys in the NavPilot-700 display units to be anywhere from 5, 10, 15, 20 degrees per push. Or I can configure it step by step, 1 degree per push. Or I can just set them up in a dodge mode. The NavPilot-700 allows me to configure it the way I want. There's a 90-degree turn to port. Let's do the same turn to starboard now. 90-degree turn to starboard using the arrow key, the green arrow key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Boom, there's a 90-degree turn to starboard. The important thing to note is just how well the integration works with the Volvo Penta EVC unit. There's no overshoot, there's no undershoot, it just comes right on track. We have some wind today, so the conditions are changing depending on vessel heading, but the NavPilot-700 series automatically adapts for that. Alright, so there's a 90-degree turn to starboard. If I just want to do some quick 30-degree turns, we can do that too. Let's make another 30-degree turn to starboard this way. 1, 2, 3. Boom, there's just a quick maneuver just to kind of come online. I'm coming in maybe to a harbor or into a a waterway where I just want to make a quick 10-degree course change. Very simple. The speed doesn't matter, so we can be going either at full speed with this boat, which cruising speed's about 24, 25 knots, or we'd be going 2 or 3 knots and still using the autopilot very effectively. Back to port, another 30-degree turn to port. 1, 2, 3, boom. smooth and stable. Here's a 10-degree turn to port. Pilot responds quickly to my turn command, follows up and comes right on course. Here's a 10-degree turn to starboard. Very quick response, very solid feel out here on the water today. NAVpilot-700 interface with the Volvo IPS instills confidence in your seamanship.